and check it out. So, welcome to today's presentation on StarfishETL Essentials Integration. Specifically today, what we're going to be talking about is HubSpot and Creatio integration. My name is Janine Madura. I'm the marketing director at StarfishETL, and my co-host today was supposed to be Aaron Hoekstra. I think he is out ill, so I may have to skip part of this presentation. I apologize for that, but we will do our best otherwise. All right, so I would like to start with who is StarfishETL. Some of you on this call, of course, already know about us, but there are some people on this call who are not as familiar with StarfishETL. I promise I won't take up a lot of time on it, but I do want to just give you a basic idea of what StarfishETL is all about, just to create a baseline for everybody going forward. We're also going to discuss the challenges to integration, and then how Essentials is working to solve those challenges. After we lay out that information, then we'll dive into specifically what you can expect with HubSpot and Creatio Essentials. And of course, if there are any questions that come up, you can toss them in the Q&A, you can toss them in the chat, and we will try to get to as many of those as possible. All right, so a quick spiel about Starfish. Who the heck are we? Well, Starfish was born in 2007 out of a need. We saw that a lot of our migration and integration customers were just really struggling. Our software customers were really struggling to migrate and integrate their data. And so we wanted to make that process easier for them. And we said, you know what? We're going to build our own. We're going to make it happen. And that's how Starfish came to be. StarfishETL is an iPaaS, and if you're unfamiliar with that term, all it means is integration platform as a service. So it's a cloud-based tool that's going to enable rapid development, streamlined data management, and data governance. And what we have listed here in these bullet points about data integration, migration, and management, those aspects of this really only scratch the surface of what an iPaaS can do. The reason that we wanted to make StarfishETL an iPaaS is because it is so flexible and so dynamic for so many different data needs throughout your business. So, for example, let's say you were trying to create IoT connectivity across applications. You could use an iPaaS for that. If you were trying to, build a data lake or populate a data lake or a data warehouse, iPaaS could be used for that. B2B data connections, hybrid cloud, basically the applications for iPaaS are nearly innumerable. So it's just a super powerful way to enable that rapid deployment and connect systems. Low-code, StarfishETL is a low-code iPaaS solution. If you work with Creatio, I'm sure that you know what low-code is, because Creatio is a low-code CRM. Low-code is the concept that you want to create an environment where not just IT people and technical people can work within a solution. A low-code solution makes things more visual. It makes things more drag and drop. And that, it does help IT people just because it's more visual and easier to move things around without coding, but it also enables more of your regular types of users to be able to work with a solution without having to have as much technical knowledge. So that's a piece of the StarfishETL story. We currently have more than 100 connectors. That number balloons out to more than 250 connectors through our partnerships. And we're always adding to that. So, we've got connections for CRM, ERP, databases, marketing automation, social media, email, your basic litany of business applications are available to you for connection with StarfishETL. So what are some things that kind of make StarfishETL stand out? These 3 bullet points on the right here are some things I would like to highlight for you. Our array technology. So It's supporting legacy implementations, and how it supports legacy implementations is by creating secure data connections. So on a normal basis, when you're connecting a legacy app to the cloud, you have to open a port on your firewall to make that connection. But what the Ray does is it allows you to securely connect your data to the cloud without modifying that firewall. So it's just creating a pass-through, and that pass-through is allowing your data to remain safe behind the firewall, but still letting StarfishETL access it for the purposes of your project. On premise, if you're working with local data to local data or local data to the cloud, a lot of people like the option to have an on-premise solution. We do have that, and we can offer that if that's what you would like. And then, of course, what we're all here for today, essentials, pre-built migrations and integrations. And I will go into more detail on what exactly that means and what that includes as we go on today. Okay, so let's hit on some common integration challenges first. Integration, if you're on this webinar, if you're considering integration for your business, you already have a good handle on the benefits of integration. But as wonderful and as beneficial as integration can be, it can come with certain challenges. And part of what Essentials is trying to do is to overcome some of these challenges. So let's first establish what some of those challenges are. Challenge number one, time. So, as great as it would be to just wake up one morning and go into the office and say, hey guys, we're going to connect these solutions together today, and scene, that's not really how it works. You want to be very thoughtful when you do an integration project. You want to know what your goals are and how you're going to reach those goals. So, the first part of integration is analysis and design. Why are we doing this in the first place? What benefits are we hoping to gain? What goals are we trying to achieve? And how do we need to start thinking about the way that this integration is going to have to be designed in order for us to achieve those benefits? Cleaning and preparing data sets takes time. That is a cannot miss aspect of integration. You've got to do it because otherwise it's basically the integration is for naught, because the whole point is to have a transparency between your data that can build stronger analytics and give you deeper insights. And if the data you're pulling from to do that is inaccurate, that's defeating the entire purpose. You're basing your business decisions off of poor data, which is a very scary thought. So data cleaning and preparation, as time consuming as it is a must. Then you've got the data mapping, right? That requires knowledge of the systems that you're working with. You have to consider the business rules within each system and how those are going to apply within your integration. And you have to think about what directions the fields map. Um, do we want data coming just from system A into system B in this field? Or do we want system B to also translate that data back to system A? And is it a one-way or a two-way integration? These are questions that you have to answer with your data mapping. And then the option of custom fields. If I have a custom field in my CRM, that's fantastic, and I love that custom field. But when I go to integrate it with another solution, I have to know where that custom field's going to go. Where's the information in those fields going to go into the new system where it makes sense? And finally, of course, testing. Gotta test running a batch of the data, running the full data load, trying to find out any little kinks or any issues that need to be worked out before you turn that integration on and give it the thumbs up. Because otherwise, there you go, not only the time it took you to test, but now you have to worry about the time it's going to take to tell everybody at your business why the integration isn't working and have everybody freak out. So all these steps are essential, but they're a time suck. What other challenges are there that have to be dealt with here? We also have cost prohibitors. So as I mentioned, data cleaning is a must. Software licenses, installation, technical labor, training on how to do things, support when you run into an issue. You might go into a project and say, look, we're going to spend XYZ amount on this integration, and that's what's going to happen. And all of a sudden, you have a major issue and you need some support hours. Now you got to pay extra for that. So all these things are factors in any integration, but where possible to reduce those issues and those cost prohibitors, we would like to do it. And so another challenge of integration is just difficulty working with integration tools. Custom coding, for example. Some integration tools only offer very specific scripting languages. So let's say, for example, you're working in a solution that only does C# and you don't know C# and your coding for your solutions isn't in C#. Well, now you're in a pickle. So you have to be aware of what custom coding capabilities are included in your integration tools. What are the connectivity capabilities? How are you mapping and testing data? There's a learning curve there as well with using a solution and trying to get a handle on where everything's at and how everything functions within that integration tool. So we know what the challenges to integration are, but now we want to think about how essentials are going to solve for those challenges. First of all, let's lay out the basics. What the heck are essentials, right? So essentials are connecting standard fields out of the box. Your essential fields, if you will. See what we did there? So standard fields, what does that mean? That is like fields that, regardless of the type of business you are, regardless of what you're trying to do and with your integration or what custom fields or custom coding you want to get done, there's some basic things that you're always going to need. I'm Italian. We cook a lot. I'm going to use a reference to cooking here. We want to make a pot of pasta. I want to make a pot of pasta and you want to make a pot of pasta. Maybe you want to make your pasta with pesto or you want to make it primavera. Maybe I want to do a little shrimp scampi, class it up. We each want to put our own flavor on that pasta, but at a base level, we still need the same core components to create that dish, right? We still need the pot, the boiling water, and the pasta, God willing, a colander. So that's what Essentials is trying to provide, those base components that no matter who you are and what you're trying to accomplish, you've got these things. Essentials and really all of the entire Starfish ETL environment is available with various scripting languages. Now, what we mentioned earlier, one of the challenges of integration is, if you are trying to work with a scripting language you're not familiar with. So we have the ability to work with C#, JavaScript, VBScript, or Python. So you can just code with whatever is most familiar to you or works best for the applications that you're trying to work with. Essentials are generated from our stitching engine. And so what the stitching engine does is it makes it so you don't have to start from scratch. It's compiling the mapping up front for you. And it's basing it off of metadata. So the metadata mapping is defining what the tables and the fields are. The stitching engine is creating this predefined integration data point for each system and then making it so that you can link any one of those systems up to any one of the other ones. Right now, obviously today we're talking about Creatio and HubSpot. That's a CRM and marketing automation connection. That's one of our strongest focuses with Essentials right now. As you can see from this list, we are expanding that. So currently, aside from the HubSpot and Creatio integration, we also have HubSpot and Sugar and HubSpot and Infor. We have a Creatio and Xero integration. We're working on a Creatio and QuickBooks integration. So this Essentials style of integration is only going to expand. If you have specific integrations that you'd be interested in seeing become Essentials, let us know. We'd love to know, and we could always expedite that up our development map. So the basics of Essentials here, what's the end game? What's the wrap-up point? It's providing basic integration as a starting point for a rapid build, and we're applying best practices based on software patterns in order to do that. Okay, so when we're talking about essential solving for X, when you're integrating your HubSpot and your Creatio together, you're closing the sales and marketing gap, you're creating deeper marketing insights, you're doing all these great things, you're eliminating duplicate data entry, which, let me tell you, is magical. From a marketing standpoint, we have a HubSpot integration, and I absolutely love it. Makes my life so much easier, and it really keeps me on the same page with sales a lot better. But I'd really like to highlight these last two bullet points in particular here. The point of Essentials and what Essentials is really bringing to the table here is helping you integrate in a fraction of the time, because we're providing those core components, but still giving you the option to personalize your integration. So you might be looking at this and say, okay, well, you're giving me a Happy Meal here, but I'd like to be able to customize it. You can do that. The point is that the Essentials is taking care of the basic fields for you, so you don't have to waste your time on that aspect. Now you can just focus your energy on your custom coding or the little tweaks that you want to make specific to your business. All right, so solving for X in terms of time. We talked about the time it takes to clean and prepare data. StarfishETL can assist you with that. We can take that off of your hands to make that smoother and faster for you. The Essentials are pre-configured, as I mentioned, to connect the core fields. So again, time saver. As I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, StarfishETL's low code, that configuration will make it easier to add mapping and manage your custom fields. And then the time it takes to run these tests is a monumental factor for getting things done quickly. And being able to run batch tests in StarfishETL allows you to check for errors in just a certain segment of the data. And then when that is corrected, sure, run the full data scan, but you don't have to waste time running a full data scan to check for improper data, then running a full data scan again. Just doing this batch timing is going to help save you some of that time. Okay, so solving for X in terms of budgetary concerns. So what did we mention about budgetary concerns? Well, we talked about all the additional things that kind of crop up that you weren't anticipating having to spend money on. And that's where Essentials is solving for X as well. Instead of adding Essentials on as an additional charge, we include it in the price of our professional edition of StarfishETL. So for $400 a month, regardless, if you use the Essentials, great. If you're just buying professional, then great. Either way, you're getting Essentials access through that professional edition. That comes with 8 support hours. So tied into that are the potential support hours you'll need if you run into an issue or if something's not working the way you need. You get a sandbox with that to test what's going on in your integration and make sure that everything's running smoothly. And it can be cloud or on-premise. So we're cutting down on the ancillary budgetary concerns by providing a lot of the things that you're going to need for that integration bundled within the integration package itself. So you're getting those support hours based on the professional license. If you go through those 8 hours and there's some major blow up or you're having an issue with a certain field or something like that, you can always purchase additional support hours and use those for whatever you like. Your problem solving, if you want to get mentoring or coaching from our team, we do have mentoring and coaching hours that you can find on our website. I will include that link in the follow-up email as well for you, just for easy access. But at the base level, you have support hours included, you have the option to add more. And then, of course, the options of just having somebody take care of it for you, which is always, when it comes to time and, um, you know, us all trying to get a million things done at once, sometimes it's nice to have somebody just do something for you. So we can also facilitate full service migration and integration. As I mentioned, we can do data cleaning, and we can help you populate your data lakes and warehouses as well. All right, so let's get into the nitty gritty here on HubSpot and Creatio essentials in particular, because that's why we're all here, right? What are included in these core fields that we're talking about? Okay, so let's start here with this first field. Contacts updated to contacts. So if I have a contact in HubSpot and I find out that their title changes from assistant director to vice president, I can go in and make that change and it'll be updated in Creatio. I can, in the same respect, update a contact. So HubSpot, if you know, as you know, only has contacts. They do not have leads. So that's why if you're updating a contact in HubSpot, it will update a lead in Creatio if that's who it's connected to in Creatio. Or you can enter a contact in HubSpot and it will create a lead in Creatio. Same goes for, look, you've got valuable marketing data coming out of HubSpot. Of course, you're going to want that in Creatio. So at a basic level, we're doing forms, emails, and subscription information is going into notes in your Creatio. Now, on the flip side of that, just as the contacts can be created in HubSpot and updated in Creatio, the opposite can be true. It's a two-way. So leads in Creatio are updating contacts in HubSpot. So it's always accurate. From a marketing perspective, I can tell you this is amazing because if a sales rep goes into the CRM and changes something, and I have a segmented list that is scanning to, scanning for a certain parameter, like again, let's go back to that example of a job title. If it's scanning for a job title and they change the job title in Creatio, it's going to pull that off of the list in HubSpot, and the campaign that I'm running that's no longer applicable to that person, they're not going to be spammed with it. It's a game changer for me, I'll tell you. Same thing with contacts updating from Creatio to HubSpot. If you have an opportunity in Creatio, it's going to update that life cycle stage in HubSpot. Again, that's huge for marketing purposes. And then Creatio activity updates the engagement in HubSpot, and Creatio opportunities create a deal in HubSpot. So all this data that's passing back and forth, this is like your core basic functionality here of what does everybody need? We all need to know the most current information about our contacts, and your sales reps working in Creatio are able to see all the engagement metrics associated to their leads and contacts and how that is translating for their conversations that they're going to be having with these people. Meanwhile, me, the marketer working in HubSpot, I know that I'm reaching the right people for sales at the right time because they're working in Creatio. They're in there doing their thing, they're making changes, and they're having peace of mind now that the information I have is the same as the information that they have. So I did see a question come in here and I want to address that really quick. Do I have to connect all the data points you are offering out of the box here? And the answer to that is no, you don't have to. You can choose to deselect certain fields if that's what you'd like to do. We just wanted to give you this basic premise here to work from. And then it's up to you to decide what to do from there. You can add your custom fields. You can maybe decide that you don't want one or two of these to transfer over. That's your call, but it's there for you.
Hello, and welcome to a demonstration of StarfishETL Essentials HubSpot and Creatio integration. Today I'll be showing a brief demonstration of how our contacts flow between HubSpot and Creatio, and a little demonstration of the StarfishETL platform itself and how everything kind of works behind the scenes to keep things in sync. I have open here a window for HubSpot. It's just a demo system, a few contacts in it, and another window here with a demo system for Creatio. And here I also have Starfish ETL running. Um, Starfish is designed to move contacts from HubSpot into Creatio based on the status of the contact itself. So if I go into Bob Ross here, we see Bob is a new lead status. In Starfish, I'm going to jump into this job here and show you how this is set up briefly. I'm going to go through and walk through everything much slower in a moment, but just to show you, we are pulling from contacts where the life cycle stage equals marketing qualified lead. So over here, we have this guy is set as a new, and his stage is set to marketing qualified lead. So if he goes from, say, lead status then to marketing qualified lead, then at that point, he'll be uh, triggered to go to the Creatio system. Uh, in Creatio, contact from HubSpot can end up in one of two places. Either he can come over as a lead inside of Creatio or a contact. And we have some decision making built into Starfish to determine where he goes. Uh, so I will walk you through some of the stuff that's in Starfish, and then I'll walk through how that lead actually flows. So starting with the project we're on Essentials, HubSpot, and Creatio, and within there we have a number of jobs. We move contacts, we move history and email type information between the two, and we go back in the other direction too, from HubSpot uh, to Creatio, and also from Creatio back into HubSpot. We also can move over opportunity information and notes and other things like that. I'm just going to spend today looking at the contact job. So you see, we're reading in this case from HubSpot. That's our origin, and then we're writing to our destination, which is Creatio. Then we have this decision-making process, which determines whether it becomes a contact or a lead. And then we have the stages for those two portions. So we have either a contact update. So it's going to look to see if that contact already exists uh, based on the email address in Creatio. And if that contact is there, then it's going to update it. If it doesn't find it in the contact, it's going to then go and check the leads area. And so if it finds the record there as a lead, is going to update it. If it doesn't find it, then it will create a brand new lead. So that's where it gets created for the first time. It's going to end up as a lead. The purpose behind this is then if you use the qualification process that's built into Creatio, moving from a lead into a contact, uh, then Starfish will know how to keep a record in synced even once it's been qualified from a lead to a contact. So moving on here to origin, I already briefly showed you this, but this is our uh, connection to HubSpot in this case. We're reading from the contacts table where the lifecycle stage equals marketing qualified lead. Now, in your particular environments, this logic can be adjusted to fit your needs, but this is the way it comes out of the box. And then we have the destination. So this is our connection to Creatio. This is where we're writing data. Not much to it, just select the connection and that's all you need to do. I guess while we're talking about connections, I'm going to jump over here to show you how those are set up and configured in Starfish. So first you have HubSpot. This is what's called an OAuth connection. So you see we're talking to the HubSpot connection type. We have many different types of connections in Starfish, just different types of systems you can work with. Here we have chosen HubSpot. And all you have to do is click this Authenticate Now button. And what's it's going to do is redirect us out to HubSpot. I'm already logged in here to HubSpot, so I'm going to choose the account I want to sync with. This is my dev account just for demonstration purposes. And it's just saying it's connecting Starfish now, and then it redirects us back into Starfish. So now I can click on HubSpot and I see I have an access token, everything's set up and ready to go. I can hit test and everything's working. Creatio is a little different in that all we need for that is the username, password, and the URL to our Creatio environment. In this case, just a demo environment that I'm using. With that in there, I can hit test connection and see that that's working. Okay, I'm going to jump back to our job. And we went over origin and destination. I'm going to talk about the mappings. So this is where all the actual logic occurs. This is where the mapping is done and everything. So the first thing it does is performs that decision making process I was talking about. And in Starfish, this is now it's configured as a C# procedure, so it's done with a little bit of scripting. There are a lot of things we can do in Starfish without scripting. However, some of this is a little more complicated, so uh, it's uh, it's much easier to do it through a few lines of code like this. So what you see it's doing though is it's grabbing the email address from the contact. It's then looking in the contact table of Creatio to see if that record exists, and then it looks in the lead table down here. And so once it makes that decision, it's going to either tell it to run this stage, the contact stage, or the lead stage. You see the contact stage is defined as just an update. And the lead stage, though, is configured as an update insert, which is probably most common for integration. It's going to check to see if a record exists. If it doesn't, then it's going to create a new one. But if it was there already, it's going to update the existing one. So we say it's writing to the lead table in Creatio. And then I can show you some of the mappings that are developed in here. So this is the one where it's writing to an existing contact. The mappings between the two stages look really similar. So we've got job title to job title, phone number to phone number. We see this works kind of like mapping fields. It's just a drop down here. So I'm choosing the field on this side is HubSpot, and on this side is the Creatio field. You can do other things like hard-coded values. So if you wanted to just say this is always this value, you can just write that in there. You can perform lookups or do scripting and all kinds of other functions built into Starfish for migrating your data or to fit the transformation that you need to and so forth. So that's contact, and then lead is very much the same. In this case, we have a few fields checked as insert only. So what that means is these fields are not going to move over in the case that that record already exists. It's only going to move over if that's a new record being created inside of Creatio. So that is that's useful for if you don't want to overwrite certain fields. Once they've been moved into Creatio, now that's, I'm managing these fields in Creatio, I don't want anything to be overwritten back from HubSpot. So you say that that's an insert only field. And then we also have a field here that's defined as the match. In this case, it's the email address. That's kind of what defines how we look for an existing record on either side is based on the email address. So we've got that one defined as a match column. So I believe I left Bob Ross as a marketing qualified lead. So if I come over here to preview, I'm going to preview the first row, and I should just have that one record available to me as a marketing qualified lead from HubSpot. And what it's going to do is show me the data from my origin, HubSpot, and then it's going to process all of my rules and scripts and so forth, and show me the record over here as it's going to then appear inside of Creatio. Now, typically, this would all be running on a schedule. I'm going to jump over here and show you that you can have a schedule set to run on every interval. So based on how often I want it to run, every 30 minutes, every 2 hours, whatever you want it to set up, however often you want it to run. Right now, I have the schedule turned off. And that's so that I'm just going to run these jobs manually here just for the purposes of moving quickly through this demonstration. But if you had it set up to run, every hour or something like that, this would be syncing on that basis. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and hit run job on this. So I have Bob Ross over here on the HubSpot side, and in Creatio, it's going to come in. It should come in as a lead. So you see it's processed one row and it performed one insert. So now if I come over here to leads, I should have Bob. Yeah, there he is, Bob Ross. He came over. He has, let's see, probably have to put in a required field here. And there we go. So, that's Bob now as a lead. Now, one of the things we could do here is qualify him. So I'm going to move him in over as a contact. So now he's been qualified and has moved now to a contact inside of Creatio. So if I go to his contact record, I see everything came over. This is just normal Creatio behavior. But now once I have, say, a change in HubSpot, say, we changed his job description. So he's a painter. Let's say he's been upgraded now to a director. So he has a new job title. Now when Starfish runs, it's going to know that record is actually a contact now, not just a lead. And so this time we see there were two updates, one for the lead record and one for the actual contact record. And so if I sync, or if I refresh this window here, now you'll see that change came over. So these changes can be configured to move in both directions, back from Creatio to HubSpot. They can be set up to run on any table, even if you have custom fields and so forth, we can do those as well. So I know this has been brief, but if you have any additional questions on Starfish or its capabilities or what comes in the essentials map or what could be added to it, feel free to reach out. Thank you very much.
You can, if you work with a partner currently who does your migration integration, you can go through them, or we can refer you to a Starfish partner in our network that's near you. You can reach out to us directly at sales@starfishetl.com, or if you want to take the DIY route, you can do that as well. You can just go on our website, request the essentials integration and all that. But the second part, the StarfishETL mentoring, I highly, highly recommend then tagging on the StarfishETL mentoring hours with that purchase, because that's going to get you up and running and understanding how to use the system and how to create the connections that you need a lot quicker. And you can have kind of that support that you need in order to get started with StarfishETL.